Treksploration.
Hello, Treksplorers, and welcome back to Treksploration. I'm Albie.
Live long and prosper. Thanks.
Mirror Universe.
I'm Chris. Hey, in case you didn't know.
We are doing a watch-along for Star Trek First Contact, because it's First Contact Day. Happy First Contact Day, Chris.
Happy First Contact Day. Happy First Contact Day, Albie.
We're a little bit early. It's supposed to be 2063. That's when it starts, but we're celebrating ahead of time.
If you have the future in hand, remember what Big Brother said. He who controls the past controls the present. He who controls the present controls the future.
I heard
we are at war with East Asia. We have always been at war with East Asia.
Only Nixon could go to China.
Yes, that too. That too. So anyway, that's my way of saying we're manifesting First Contact Day in 2063 by taking control of the now.
Yes.
That's the way it works, right?
I think so. I think we're well on our way to First Contact Day. But
I like it.
More about that later. So it's going to be a little bit of a watch along. So now is the time to scramble and get your copy of Star Trek First Contact, whatever it might be. I think ours goes along with the Blu-ray, the remastered version. I don't know if there's a difference, and the Paramount Plus version. So when we hit play, you hit play, and you'll be able to watch it along with us. You'll be able to watch.
It's funny. The difference, I already noticed the difference between two versions, and I was going to ask you about that. So, and it's really, it's like right up top. It's right up top.
Really?
So,
okay. You're going to have to point it out.
I will.
For those watching along on Riverside with us, live as we do this, you should be able to see the video. We'll see what happens there, but we can do that on YouTube.
Yes, I was explaining to everybody who was currently in the audience, and that would be Alejandro. I was explaining to Alejandro that we can't go live on the YouTube because they'd shut us down in 4 seconds.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Oh, Listen Linda is here.
Hey, Linda, how are you?
Welcome, Cadet Listen Linda. Today we are talking about Star Trek First Contact, rated PG-13, 1 hour, 51 minutes, stardate 5089.5. Also takes place 4th and 5th of April, 2063. The release date was November 22nd, 1996. That sounds like a Thanksgiving time.
Wow, that was way back when, boy.
And the screenplay was by Brandon Braga and Ronald D. Moore, and the director was Jonathan Frakes. The great Jonathan Frakes.
Frakes, everybody just calls him Frakes.
Frakes. Everybody loves him. I think that's universal. Like, nobody's ever said a bad word about him that I know of. This was the 8th out of 14 Star Trek films, and it was the 441st Star Trek of 949 released in all so far. Apparently.
Wow, those are some really meaningless statistics.
Yeah, but it puts it in perspective where it is. I don't think we have to do a synopsis, Chris, because we're going to just be watching along.
Yeah, we're going to be watching the movie. Yeah, so I mean, I didn't write one. I know that you had one generated here. Yeah. I'd be interested to see if it. So how did you generate this one? I don't think people got the benefit of hearing it.
I typed it into ChatGPT-4 and I said, "Give me a movie summary in the style of Christopher D. Philippus."
How does ChatGPT know that?
Dude, it knows so much. When I had it generate a description of one of our Star Trek things, it said, "And Albie will try not to talk about Quantum Leap, but we know he'll fail," or something. So it knew who I was. And if you ask like the app about me or Serenity or the podcast, it'll give us who the host is and stuff. It's crazy. Yeah, you're legendary, Chris.
I don't think so.
I think so. You're my
crazy
legend. Wait for it, Derry. So we'll talk about our first impressions and all those things while we do the movie. How's that sound, Chris? You just want to jump right in?
Yeah, sure. I mean, should we give people a countdown to hit play?
Yeah, why don't we do that? 47, 46, 45, 44, 43, 42, 41, 40, 39, 38. 37.
Wake
36,
me when you get to 5.
35, 34, 33, 32, 31. I'm already halfway there, so 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13. What comes after that? 12,
12,
11, 10,
10,
9,
9,
8,
8,
7,
7,
6,
6,
5,
5,
4,
3,
3,
4, 3,
2, 1.
2,
Launch.
1. Happy first contact day!
Happy first contact day!
And hit play.
Is it playing?
I don't see it.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go. And we're playing now.
Now.
Okay, so I can't get volume here, but this is my very first thing. You got to turn it up a little bit. There we go.
All right, there we go.
So this is the question I had.
Okay.
As the stars, the Paramount stars are flying over the Paramount Mountain, you get the fanfare.
Yes.
You get the dun, dun, dun. Now, the first time I saw this film, I was at a hotel. I was at a convention for my first job. And I saw that they had this movie on the pay-per-view in the room. So I ordered it, and it played with the fanfare over the mountain, over the stars.
Okay.
And I had seen this a million times because every time I went up to the room for a break, I would just restart this movie and it would start right from the beginning. So I saw it a dozen times at least in 3 days. And that's how I got to love this soundtrack, because I saw the credits over and over and over again. I saw this in the movie theater, and then subsequently on different versions streaming. They do the Paramount stars and then go to a black screen with the fanfare, and then the credits start. So
That's the one I remember, I think.
I never would have gotten to that difference had I not seen the version that we just saw so many times. And it struck me as odd when I saw it and it was different. And I said, how is that a different cut? Like, why would they? Anyway.
That's weird.
So
it should have been
so
like
what version?
It should have been a Borgified Paramount logo. That would have been cooler.
What version are we watching here then?
This is the VHS widescreen version,
Okay.
which is different than the VHS lenticular version.
Okay.
I forgot to put it in and do all that and add the sound effects in post. Whoops. All right. But no, we're watching the Blu-ray version, the remastered Blu-ray version.
This has got to be the best Star Trek theme of all time. Better than the Wrath of Khan theme.
I agree. This is just beautiful. I think what we're dealing with right here is the height of Star Trek. Like if there was the highest point in Star Trek ever, when First Contact came out, that was it.
Well, I think that Jerry Goldsmith outdid himself here.
And then, of course, I have it on DivX,
Sure you do.
the failed DVD competitor format.
Alex, you're such a baby. Look what Alex writes. Alex writes, if everything goes well, I'll be 65 in 2063.
Ooh, how old will I be?
I was going to say, what are you, 3 years old?
2063. Yeah, if the math is right. Wow, 3 years old. Thanks for joining us, Alejandro, at 3.
Dun, 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 dun. 2063. If I live that long,
Yes.
I will be 93.
93. So I'll be like 87 or so.
If I don't get killed in the war.
Yeah, in the war.
Is that the DivX version that you're holding?
That's the
up there,
DivX
Albie?
version, yeah.
So was that the first time we saw like inside a Borg cube where they had actual like curves? Because I never really watched much Voyager, so I'm not really sure.
Voyager was always just like a TV Kmart version of this, and unless they reused a lot of the stuff, which they did.
Gotcha. And here's some great body horror. I love this.
Yeah,
song
this grossed
with
me
the
out.
eyeball.
And I thought it was real for a little bit. Of course, it wasn't real, but it looked real. Did this dream sequence trick you the first time?
It probably did. I don't know. I mean, I can't remember. I love it though.
There's that cloth from the Mintakins on his chair still, so it's some cool Easter eggs.
It's better than that thing that was like the most valuable artifact in the universe that he just tosses aside at the end of.
Yeah, and I want to say this is probably the second best Star Trek film, if not the best. It depends. It's right up there with Star Trek 2.
Quite frankly, so I look at it like this. I think they're about co-equal.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll always have a soft spot for Khan because that was my crew. But when I got to love the Next Gen crew, this movie to me is superior in many ways, effects especially, but and it's a little bit more cinematic. It's got a lot of great lighting, a lot of great angles, a lot of it's just it's a superior made film. Like Frakes directed it better than Nimoy did. And Linda says she'll be 99 in 2063.
Wow.
So
And still looking good.
So Linda, at that point, if you want to date a younger man,
Yeah. We'll be around. Most of us will be widowed by then, or widowers, right? Alex says, did you like the explanation they gave for Picard's illness in season 3?
I don't even remember what it was.
Oh, I can fix cars. I think the Bendai syndrome came from being assimilated by the Borg. That was the cause of it.
Oh, okay. All right. And no, I can't fix cars, so it looks
I can
like I'm
fix
going to be
cars.
alone. I'm going to be alone on first contact.
But if you need someone to walk with, Chris can walk infinitely.
Look at this. Geordie's got his eyes here.
Yeah, no explanation. We missed it. I wonder if there's like a comic book in between where he got his.
We don't even need it, though. You know, it's
No,
just
it's
like it just.
Understood.
And
Beverly's
Gates's
looking
never looked
good.
better.
Does
Yeah,
Beverly have
yeah.
different color eyes in this, or her eyes always that?
You tell me. You're the one that's always mooning
I
over
want to say
Gates.
she had green eyes, especially after Sub Rosa, right? But these, they're kind of bright blue. Now, I just learned today that they made a actual physical model of the E, along
really?
with a
Okay.
CG one.
Okay, I got to tell you, opera moment. So this is from an opera called Les Troyens, and it's by Berlioz, as you know. Les Troyens. Valen Sonore is the name of this aria, and it's about a sailor at sea thinking of home. So, and Riker says Bizet wrote Carmen, so you might know Carmen, but he only wrote 2 operas. He wrote Carmen and one called The Pearl Fishers. The Pearl Fishers is a pretty good opera too, but Carmen is legendary.
So much like Back to the Future 2, this movie was written for you.
Yeah, well, this scene was, yes. And then they did bring this back in Picard season 3 when Worf is doing his calisthenics. Mm-hmm. He's playing that aria. Oh. So that was a little Easter egg for fans of First Contact.
They made a little bit for me. They were singing, what is it, British Tar and different things. And was that Insurrection, or which one was that? Where they were?
That was in Syria when they're doing that awful show tune
they made
with the captain's yacht, and
there
they had to go get data, and Anyway,
so we got the first contact uniforms. Everybody, I like when I picture the next gen crew, I don't picture them what they look like now, or like in the actual series. I picture these guys right here, first contact.
This is a real smart redesign of the uniforms. I love the fact that they made them. I guess maybe it makes it a little bit more militaristic, and that fit very well when they swapped them out on DS9 too, because that show became very militaristic.
Mm-hmm.
But the division colors really pop on these.
Yeah, when it's all the black and gray, and then you have just the highlights of the turtleneck and the sleeves, which were full shirts.
Reminds me of but it's like the sensibilities. It's what Justman tried to do. Was it Robert Justman? Who directed the motion picture? A legendary,
yes, that guy.
Yeah, legendary dude. He muted the color palettes. I think we discussed this just one of the last shows we did.
On the End More that's coming out Sunday.
Yeah, on the End More that's coming out Sunday. They muted the color palettes on that specifically because they thought that all the bright colors of the original series would not really work on the big screen. It would be too garish. Mm-hmm. And he thought it would be better to be subtle and a little bit underplayed. I feel like they're doing that here, but it actually works. Mm-hmm. Number one, because the uniforms aren't god ugly like they are in the motion picture. But number two, it's just maybe it's the lighting, maybe it's just got so much more of that cinematic feel. It's almost like noirish.
To hell with our orders. So what do you think about the slight profanity in this movie?
I think there's, didn't we have one already?
Yeah, we had the S word in Generations, I believe.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Data's a little bit of a potty mouth.
I tell you, Data, he's like a kid who discovered, hey, I can do this.
And then you always get that grin from Riker when he curses, and it's like Riker, in my head canon, Riker just uploaded a profanity program.
Okay, now here's this. This is the great. This is the battle of Sector 001, right?
Neil McDonough, I think, was that the one that played the ensign?
Yeah, that's Hawk.
Hawk, the doomed ensign.
Yes, Hawk.
I
the
looked up
doomed
Ensign Lynch today since he's our mascot. Apparently,
I was going to say he's right behind me. He's
yeah.
over here somewhere.
the person that played Ensign Lynch is no longer with us. I was trying to get them to join us tonight, but
Linda, the Klingon theme is playing. Linda,
I will play the Klingon theme and fix the cars. Colorful metaphors, Linda says. Yeah.
yes.
So originally in the script, it was supposed to be the Defiant was supposed to be destroyed, but Ira Stephen Bear said, "No, I need it.
Yeah.
It's for
Yeah, it's
fine.
like
You can't have it."
I was going to say we have 7 more seasons plotted out here.
Yeah. Time travel, Borg, Star Trek. I'm in.
Yeah, it's such a fantastic battle sequence here.
Now you're a fan of the E. You like the E more than the D, right?
Oh yeah, are you
Yeah.
kidding? The E is a beautiful ship.
Do you have the E? Did you get that as one of your collections?
No, I didn't. You know why? Because I felt like it was getting to be too much. I don't even know if I looked for an E. I just really wanted the original series Enterprise, and then when I saw that I could get a Defiant just for my DS9 love, but then they had like DS9 and they had the XL version of DS9, and I was just like, no, I can't start with this stuff. It's too much. Now Eagle Moss was Hero Collectibles at that point, I guess. One or the other, they're out of business, and there was another company that took it over and was selling all their back stock. And, yeah,
and producing new ones, I think, right?
Yeah. Maybe I'm not sure. I think they started now.
Alejandro says he loves the D.
He loves the D, huh?
It's weird. I saw your really nice Eagle Moss ones, but I tend to like the toy ones they put out for about $30 because they're bigger and they make sounds and light up and they're toys. So when you drop them, it's not as destructive as that.
There we go. Now we.
But I think they put an E out because I remember getting all the First Contact action figures. I had the Phoenix and I had the Borg Cube sphere, and it had like an exploding panel when you press a button and it lights up and explodes.
I wanted them to look as realistic as possible.
Yeah.
So, I'm not, me, I'm not into like collectibles or toys or anything like that per se. Although you'd never know that looking behind me. But this is really, you're looking at my entire collection. You know what I mean? If it's this is the most I have. So,
my place is one of those things where the camera angle, like everything outside of it, is just piles of Star Trek toys.
Right. Mine are piles of books and radios.
This is my clean spot, believe it or not. So, I love the fact that no matter the movie, Worf always finds a way to come back.
Yeah, he finds a way to come back. I think I read something just the other day where he comes onto this right after in DS9 continuity, Jadzia is murdered.
Yeah, and nobody says anything, right?
Nobody says a word.
Nobody says, "I'm sorry for your loss. Oh, it's so hard to hear. How you doing?" You think Deanna would say something.
Right.
But,
now here we come with the timey-wimey stuff. This temporal wake it's a brilliant concept.
Yeah. Luckily, they were caught in the wake and could know what was going on and still decide whether or not to follow them or not and all that. If they hadn't have been caught in the wake, well, done.
That's it. Yeah, they would have gone the way. We're all Borgified.
Yeah. Love the way number one messes with Worf. Yeah, they're teasing each other. They're Frakes is getting to be Frakes. Less Riker, more Frakes. I think.
I think you're right. That's I never even noticed that, but that's a good transition.
But they're both good. I like both of them. Beverly looks amazing in this movie. Her hair, I think, is actually her hair, not a bad wig. If it is a wig, it's a good wig.
Why? What kind of bad wig was she wearing in
Next Gen? She had some bad wigs. And it was just, the production thing. It was easier to have the women wear wigs than do their hair like that all the time.
I thought she always had that natural, big head of red hair.
Some episodes she has her own hair.
All right. You're going to have to point it out to me as we go on. You think?
Here's the question. See, now I plan, if I'm still alive, going to Bozeman, Montana on this day.
It will be like when... if you want to go to points in history where you're bound to see time travelers, I'm going to say that the crucifixion is number 1.
Okay.
And then First Contact Day is going to be number 2.
Who was it? Stephen Hawking set up a party for time travelers? to join him on exact date and time, and nobody showed up.
Damn it.
Yeah. Alex Alejandro says the explanation on why the changes have in the past didn't affect them reminded me of ones from Timeless. Yeah. There's many different ways of time travel, and I think you just picked the one that helps the narrative out the best, right?
Yeah, and my friend Sean of the Infinite Potato Alliance, Sean Ray, says time travel is different every single time in Star Trek anyway. So
Linda's been to Bozeman, Montana.
Linda's a show off.
And funny enough, none of this was filmed in Bozeman, Montana. So
It's the Utah.
Mm-hmm.
To hell with the Phoenix.
So,
I love Cochran in this.
Yeah. Well, I heard that about you. He was originally supposed to be played by Tom Hanks. So what do you think the Hanks version in a different multiverse would have been?
That's absolute bullshit. There's no way.
He was supposed to do it. Something happened.
And if Data can say it, I can say it. So
that's true. Colorful metaphor.
This is a PG-13 show tonight.
A watch along.
Yeah. So
he wasn't supposed to. He wasn't supposed to join.
Tom Hanks, stop it.
What's the guy's name that plays Cochran now?
Cochran now?
Well, in this and in Enterprise,
Cromwell, James
Cromwell, yeah, from Babe, Pig in the City, and the original Babe, right?
Yep, and from many other things.
Yeah.
So
the Borg knew enough about human history to stop us from.
They might have gotten that from Picard. They might have gotten that from Locutus.
That's true. Of course, there's many humans been assimilated also.
Nah, I think let's just give Picard more angst. He's the reason. He's the reason for the season.
So I think at one time you told me this was one of your favorite films, and you could talk about it endlessly.
I did. I said that. I guess I could. We're doing that now. I mean, there is going to be an end to this discussion, though. So.
Yeah, at some point. This is one that I like to put on just to enjoy. I don't usually watch them all in order anymore. I think I did with the original movies.
Oh, I never did that.
No,
isn't that funny? Random? I tried to do a rewatch in order, and we will eventually, I guess, for the show. But I always find myself watching the motion picture Wrath of Khan. I love Search for Spock. I kind of gloss over on The Voyage Home. I can't even bring myself to put on Final Frontier. Really? And then my mileage is varying with 6. I mean, I like it because of the fact that it's the swan song for the original series, but at the same time, as we've discussed, the more I see that movie, the less I like it.
Well, it's a mystery, so once you know the mystery, it's not as fun.
Yeah, but it's not even that. Even when I saw it in the theater, I didn't give a crap about the mystery, you know.
And you're waiting for Samantha from Sex and the City to have a love scene too. Now, I have a lot of Star Trek figures in these outfits. This isn't one of them. I don't know where they are. They're in a box somewhere. But they're this like type and size and format. You know, the Barbie doll 9-inch fashion ones. But they made a whole line of these figures in the away team.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, and they're really nice quality.
I gotta say, I love the fact that even though it's supposed to be civilian wear for 2063, Beverly's jacket really harkens back to the Fields jackets from Wrath of Khan.
Yeah, it's like a nice homage combination.
Those big white collars.
This was actually filmed in a real missile silo.
Huh. So
I always thought it was a set. Just learned that today. Arizona, I want to say Arizona Missile Museum something. It was a real missile silo.
I was really surprised to see Alfre Woodard in this the first time I saw it. I mean, I knew James Cromwell from his face, like, because he's a character actor, but like to me, she's like a legit movie star. Like she's been in a million things, highly talented, very lauded.
Oscar winner, right? I want to say.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, here she is in a Star Trek film. I was like, wow. I always loved this scene too.
Yeah, he just steps off the thing.
So yeah, well, let's go back to the Tom Hanks thing as Zephyrin Cochrane.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's real. That's like saying Eddie Murphy was going to be in Star Trek 4, which I know is a real thing as well.
Yeah.
But
maybe
I'd never heard that.
Maybe that's who they write for, and then they get who they can get. But I'm glad this seemed to me to all work out perfectly. Like Hanks would have been the star of the movie, but I think when they got they didn't get Hanks, that Lily became more Alfre Woodard became more of the star.
Okay, now you see how we have Alfrey and Gates in the same scene here.
Hmm.
One of the chief complaints I've heard about this film is that Alfrey stole Beverly's thunder. Most of the stuff that we see, especially later on the E, should have been between Jean-Luc and Beverly, not between Alfrey and
I
or
would have been
Lily
there
and
for it.
Jean-Luc.
I would have been there for it.
Because if you're going to use your ensemble, who knows Jean-Luc better
Yeah.
than Beverly? But they
Uh,
kind of get swept aside, maybe because it's a film and they need names to get it made.
yeah. And it's one of those things I think in movies, the main
Uh-oh.
male protagonist always has a girlfriend of the day, du jour, you know? And it's just the way
Yeah,
you
I
do
never
it.
saw them as romantic.
There seems to be a connection there.
Yeah,
I was
no,
like
I
that.
understand why they wrote Lily the way they had to, because
Yeah.
it's that's the everyman in the audience
Right.
saying, "What are the Borg? What is a starship? What's a phaser? It's my
Yeah.
first ray gun." It's an
Because a lot of
yeah,
people going to see this movie on a Friday night might not have seen any Star Trek before.
exactly.
So
So
we
they
needed
just had to give you the that convenient plot.
That's my first ray gun. Um, and that's a way to keep the dual times on in both the A story and the B story because Alfrey's Lily, she's from the past and she's on the Enterprise. So and the
Hmm.
Enterprise crew is on Earth in the past. So both has the contrast.
No, I
Otherwise, you
see.
just go back up to the Enterprise and it'd be Borg action only. I think.
I never really considered that. That's cool.
Did you ever
Damon
touch a
writes,
missile?
I can't imagine anyone else in the role of Cochrane besides James Cromwell. Well, I mean, you don't have to because someone else was in the role of Cochrane before James Cromwell. He was on the original series,
I don't know his name though.
and he was supposed to be from Alpha Centauri, and he was always talking about planting fig trees. Once he got over the fact that he was getting, I guess, molested by an energy being. It's a good thing. It's a good thing that ambassador died, so that the cloud life form could inhabit it, and then he's not skeeved by the fact that he's been having sexy times with sparkles and mist.
I loved Deanna in this movie. She's having fun. She's just, she crashed one Enterprise. She's got no worries anymore.
Yeah, and they give her a little bit more to do. They have the drunk scene with her. That's her. That's her big scene, I guess.
We don't have time to talk about the time. We don't have the time. Now, this
I
is
love this.
the woman I always thought that became the Borg Queen because they look so similar. But of course, different actresses. But you got to have part of a corpse to make a Borg, right?
She's my she's my favorite in this movie. I just love that she comes up through the Jeffries tube. She's all sweaty.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she does get Borgified too, because you get like the pushing and the scream.
Mm-hmm.
So
the Borg Queen was invented for this film.
I know. And what do you think of that? I know the mission log guys had a big problem. Well, Ken did anyway. I think John was fine with it.
It changes who the Borg are, but I think it made the movie really good, so I didn't mind it. And she was kind of sexy.
Ew.
I'm in the Borg ladies.
So there we go. See? Yeah, she's going to get Borgified too.
Now, what do you think of them casting all these parts as when they could have cast like people that were on Next Gen in the background? Or in other
There's throwaway things. I mean, to get people from Next Gen, from the background, they're probably 40 years older than they need for this movie. And I think that Ogao is in it, right?
and I think
rest in peace.
one of them on the bridge is one that was a background actor forever on Next Gen. The woman with short hair, yeah.
So Alyssa's, at least we get Alyssa, and we get Barkley. We get Broccoli.
Do get Barkley.
Yeah, so there she is. There's
Here's
Alyssa.
Ogawa. Love her.
Yeah. And this is an awesome cameo.
Yeah, and this is actually Star Trek Voyager's sick bay they used.
Oh, really?
Enterprise D. They just lit it a little bit different. And that explains why Robert Picardo's hanging out there.
I guess so. But I mean, just look how this bridge is amazing. It's just
It is beautiful. It's very 2000 and something. What was this? 99, 96, 96.
I mean, if you're gonna do that, I always thought the LCARS displays were pretty damn ugly, but they even made the LCARS
Sacrilege.
displays look good.
Sacrilege. You're talking about the
No.
Okudas right there.
That's fine.
Mike
They'll
Okuda.
they'll live. Something tells me they're gonna be just fine.
They're going to be just fine, even if Christopher D. Philippus doesn't like them. I don't know. I want all my computers to be like that. Picard seems a little preoccupied in this movie by the Borg.
You think?
I think he's still traumatized. I think he's hidden it well, but when it comes to
Oh, it's PTSD all the way, man.
yeah. So what do you think about that?
I think it's nice that if you're going to have a feature film, that you acknowledge the lasting effects of the most traumatic thing that ever happened to him outside of the episode Family, which is fantastic.
Right.
I think that if you're going to do a Picard and like a character journey of Picard, this one is better for fans of Next Gen. And I know that sounds weird because it's a Next Gen film, but we were just talking about how you have to have some kind of mainstream appeal.
Mm-hmm.
So they managed to do a story that fans would have wanted to see, but keep it compelling enough for, I think, a general audience.
It really was.
What do you think of that as exploring that aspect of him?
It was very real to me, and it seemed like, because for most of the rest of Star Trek: The Next Generation, after the Best of Both Worlds Part 1 and 2, besides the family, they don't really dwell on it or mention it, and it seems like something that would really affect the rest of his life.
Yeah, yeah.
And this, I think, film deals with it the most real.
Oh, now I see that it's the Voyager's sickbay.
Yeah,
now I can't unsee it.
I
Instead
didn't know
of
it for
green,
years.
they just made it gold back there.
Yeah, they just
Okay.
did different lighting and stuff. I didn't know it until recently. It's
So
still
it's
Robert
nice to see the
Picardo's in it.
Doctor. Now, do you think like when he goes back to his central hologram database that all of the versions of the EMH get this memory of the Borg attacking?
I don't think so. I think they're each separate for each ship.
Okay. They're saying that did the Borg ever try to assimilate data? Yeah, in this movie.
In this movie, yeah. I actually had the Data action figure on the table or something. I think he's on the table and he's got part of his arm with skin on it and stuff. It's weird.
Now look at Michael's makeup in this. I feel like his head appliance is on wrong. It's like covering his left eye a little bit too much.
You noticed that, right?
Yeah, it's a little askew. View askew.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ethan Phillips does show up in the holodeck later. Damon, thank you for pointing that out.
He's uncredited. Who else is in the holodeck? Brandon Braga's in there,
Oh, we'll have to look.
shot.
Ensign Lynchen is in there.
sitting on one of the tables. Is this where he says lock and load? Or,
Yep.
Or is that?
No, that's right now.
And then he turns his emotion chip off.
And he just does it with like you don't have to press a button or anything.
No, just twist
Just-
of the head. What I find funny is that phasers will vaporize you, right? Just the hand phasers. But like if you're really in danger, then you get the bigger phasers that will still just vaporize you.
Yeah. Well, you need to look smart running down that hall. You know.
You need to look intimidating. Robert Picardo was also great in Stargate. Yeah, he was. He's been in, and he was in Quantum Leap.
Says Alejandro.
Alejandro.
I'm trying to remember what part he played in Quantum Leap.
Ooby Dooby.
Ooby dooby 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 dooby.
Do you have the Star Trek First Contact soundtrack disc?
Well, don't spoil my Trek and Tell.
Uh-oh. Okay. But it's actually got computer stuff on it, too, when you put it in your computer.
Oh, Robert Picardo. It was the revival series, not the original. Gotcha. Thank you, Damon. Damon pointed out that it was the time loop episode. Leap, Die, Repeat.
Leap, Die, Repeat. That's a great one. Drunk Deanna. It's not synthahol, it's alcohol. Yes. No.
Good.
Yeah, but they've always been Imzadi, so.
I mean, how many bottles they got left after World War III? And he just like tosses it over his shoulder.
Yeah.
To break.
He's just drunk, and I think he's thinking it's the end of the world. The aliens are invading, and everything's blowing up, and this is the last day. So just enjoy it all. I like that whole little arm thing. I try to incorporate that anytime I do shots with Marina Sirtis.
I'm sure.
I'm guessing there's some kind of like pad back there so it doesn't break.
But they have the sound effect anyway.
Time to talk about the.
Now, this
time
is
we
where
don't have
if you watch the scene too many times, it's just like it's a little too stylized. If you look at Frakes, it's Frakes actually. Someone needed to be directing him, but just the timing of his head movements becomes now I can't unsee it.
I love his
But
smile
I thought
in this scene.
Oh, I love his smile. His smile is great, but just watch when Deanna sits at the table.
World War III just
And,
happened, right? That's why the world looks dystopian. Very, very much so.
Yes, that's why everybody's living in hovels because.
But like all those times I pretended I was handsome or I wished I was handsome, I was wishing I was like handsome like Riker in this scene.
And
Yeah, the clothing design in this whole movie is amazing.
yeah, I never really noticed that kind of stuff until I started talking about it with you.
It's futuristic and yet retro and yet fits into any time.
I don't know. I just can't stand Cochrane's Jughead hat. I mean,
It was a choice.
see, watch here. She boop. You see how he moves his head? It's like it's a little too staged. Anyway.
I don't know. For me, it's perfect. I remember seeing it in the audience with the audience in the movie theater the first time, and the whole place laughing. I think Deanna got the most laughs.
Oh yeah, no. This is something I've noticed upon like viewing 876. You know.
Yeah.
So,
how
and this is
many
great.
times really you think you saw it? I'd say 50 probably for me, easy.
Oh, I don't keep count on stuff like
But
that.
ish.
If I did, I'd be depressed. Yeah, this is such an atmospheric scene. I love this. I love the music in this scene. I love the fact that Worf is the one leading the charge.
I like that Worf can be both in the Next Gen movies and Deep Space Nine at the same time.
I love how they can use the Jeffries tubes to get around the ship. Although
This
that's not a
is
tube,
very
it's
much
just
a
a
Die
hatch.
Hard. They're all doing a Die Hard.
So is this like Starship Mine?
Yeah, a little bit.
Here we go. Uh-oh. Must be the Borg.
Oh, this is where he turns it off. I love Picard's vest with the shirt thing.
That was another smart choice. It kind of, I wonder if they got the idea for these versions of this uniform from the later seasons of Next Gen when they started putting him in that smart gray jacket.
Mm-hmm. Alejandro says the clothes fit the characters' personalities so well. They do. It's weird because they're making the ship warmer because the Borg like it warm. Is that right?
Yeah.
So Picard is still wearing a vest and a long sleeve shirt. So, but that's Hollywood layers.
Because he's not going to let the Borg see him sweat.
Oh, that's true. So Lily is on the loose. Yes, we all do envy Data sometimes, Alejandro. Now, have you ever listened to the director's commentary, writer's commentary for this?
No, because I didn't ever had it on DVD.
Production actually, the LEDs that are blinking are actually blinking in Morse code, and they're blinking out just names of the production crew.
Why?
So if you were
anyway, I
intelligent
guess that's
enough
why,
to
because
like-
geeks are designing these things. So.
Yeah. So there's Easter eggs everywhere.
I'm going to call shenanigans on that.
So it's weird that the Borg, they're invading and assimilating, but they ignore you until you mess with them.
My father-in-law, when rest in peace, Tom, when he first saw this movie, he loved it, and he didn't like anything about Next Gen because he was TOS guy all the way
Right.
through. And then he saw this movie, and he was like, "Oh my God, they all had personalities. It was so good." He said, "The only thing that I don't buy is that they could be walking among all of these Borg, and nobody reacts until somebody sneezes or something."
Mm-hmm.
But that was also a conceit that went back to next gen, right? I mean, the first time they're on the Borg
Oh
cube,
yeah,
they don't really
always.
get. Yeah.
I
So
think that was just a way to build the tension and have more scenes without immediately having to go into kung fu mode. But
mhm.
also, I think it's because they're a hive mind and they're kind of like worker bees, and like the bees don't bother you until you bother them, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. They're just doing what they're assigned to do until I guess the queen or some kind of controlling force.
The shoes always got me because they're just like rubber boots. But what else are you
Oh, I
gonna do,
mean,
right?
listen, the shoes are always a sticking point if it's Klingons or Borgs or at least I think these at least match the aesthetic.
So there's 8 stuntmen who played the Borg, and they just like had different configurations of Borgs, so they could play more different Borgs.
They've adapted.
I love
I
that.
am.
Worf's just like
See, that's why Albie, you don't carry the small phaser because once
because
they
well, you
adapt,
just like
uh huh.
tap
It's
them
like
on the head
having
with
a
it.
it's like having a batleth or
Yeah, and I wonder, does the phaser the shielding only protect against the phaser beam? So what if you put it like point blank at them and then pull the trigger? I don't know.
yeah. What good is the shielding if you can just punch them in the face?
And why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you just the first beam not be stunned but like disintegrate?
Perhaps it's because they have assimilated technology
Ah,
that you need to hit it a few times. I don't know.
drama. So this branches into another plot line where Data and the Borg Queen hang out. Hey, there was that the Klingon theme, Linda? I want to say for a little bit.
I love the way that they make the assimilation now, where it's just the tubes and the nanobots instead of. I think that's the first time we saw something like that, like it animated
Yeah,
that way, right?
and it comes in later Star Treks, but and this is where he kills him, right? That helps him because he
Boom.
understands what it's like to be there. But he also
Yep.
knows that you can bring them back because he was brought back. But then that says a lot about his quality of life after he was unassimilated.
Well, wasn't that also like one of the points of Picard's? I think it was season 2 when Hugh comes back and they're rehabilitating the former Borg and they're all deformed and stuff. And,
Yeah. Well, it would have been after 4, so I'm going to say like 6 or 7.
No, well, I'm just
It's
talking
you.
about in Picard.
Oh, yeah.
One of
Picard.
the arcs.
Okay, yeah, Picard. Not
One
Next
of
Gen.
one of
You're
Jean
right.
one of Jean Luc's character arcs is realizing that the Borg aren't the enemy; they're all victims. Oh, Linda's saying, "I can't hear the movie, only you guys." That's by design, Linda.
Yeah, we're trying not to get kicked off of platforms right now.
Yeah, and also I feel like you know everything
Yeah,
that's being said here.
you
so.
can
Maybe not Linda.
yeah, maybe not. But for me, I know we could watch it on mute, and I would still hear it somewhere in my brain.
And I think that it'll be good when people are actually, if they're doing the watch along, they'll have
Yeah.
the movie on in their home.
The dual screen experience.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, this was an action figure, and I think they put some kind of porcelain thing out too of this scene.
Now, where did the Borg get all this stuff? I mean, they just like 2 of them beamed over before that cube.
Right, their nanoprobes are just assimilating and building and changing. I'm guessing,
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of this looks very specifically Borg.
like that glass.
So,
thing. That's why I have
and
that
then the
behind me.
alcoves, like the
Yeah.
alcoves that they were in. So,
They
I mean,
just-
that's one thing in the movie that's a little bit.
Rapid manufacturing. They probably, I think
guess.
they have many replicators too. You know,
All right.
like the Borg, they can just make stuff, but they use what's around it to make it. I believe.
Do you think that they got that thing behind Data's head at Spencer Gifts?
Yeah, that's where I got mine. They're really cool and shocking sometimes, depending on your grounding.
See, now they're trying to assimilate Data.
Now that looked really good because it really looked like Brent's skin until it got drilled into,
Right.
and it looked like plywood somehow.
I wonder why that is.
So, did you ever answer?
And
Are
here
you
we
going to
go.
meet
This
in
is-
Bozeman, Montana?
I'm going to be 93, so I don't know.
Right.
I'll
So like
try.
it's an easy commitment to make because worst case scenario, you're still alive at 93, right?
Right, but
And have to sigh and go anyway.
I just this is like maybe one of the worst lines in all of Star Trek when they
On some
have the
kind
guy
of
say,
Star Trek.
"You're astronauts on some kind of Star Trek." I mean, Star Trek is a dumb name. Let's just get it out there. I know that it's
Everything is
iconic,
until you say it enough, right?
I guess, but wow, this is so forced. Yeah.
Well, a lot of people don't know what the word Trek means, and you hear a lot of people say Star Trek, and it's just cringy, you know.
Oh yeah. I mean, sometimes
So
I
this
hear
helps those people a little bit.
I like guest
Just through
stars
the
say it.
timeline. Mhm. Yeah, Riker's just badass in this movie.
That's what I'm saying. They gave everybody but Beverly something really good to do in this. She's
Yeah,
just
she's
like,
kind of like separate, and she had that one scene where she was saving
yeah,
sick bay, but other than that, not much.
not much.
It would have been really
And
good if it was like the culmination of Picard and Beverly's like romance, and then like in the next film they had their marriage or something like that. But I can't complain about Lily being in it because she's one of my favorite characters in Star Trek. I loved her coming back in Lower Decks. Was it?
I tell you what, it was fantastic that they got Alfre back for Lower Decks.
Yeah, that was a shock. That along with Jolene Blaylock, that was my two things. One of the original concepts for this film was something happened to Zephyrin Cochrane, and Beverly had to bring him back to life. But in the meantime, Picard had to play Zephyrin Cochrane and restore the timeline, kind of like
It
Gabriel
wasn't.
Bell kind of
I
thing.
was going to say, isn't that? Didn't we do that on the Bell Riots already?
Yeah, and I'm thinking the Bell riots were maybe after this, so maybe they still use the idea just there, maybe.
Yeah, it could be. Could be.
Yeah,
What do they call that? A predestination paradox or something?
something like that. And you can check that out at one of the bonus episodes on the Quantum Leap podcast. LeVar looks good with eyes. Gonna say it. I
He's a
didn't hate
handsome
it.
fella.
I didn't hate it. He said it. Star Trek. Another idea for the movie was Star Trek Renaissance, where Picard was supposed to go back and like meet Leonardo da Vinci, and Data ended up working with Leonardo da Vinci.
It sounds awful.
Yeah, I guess that's why they didn't do it.
See the Borg vision. Is that the first time we get Borg vision?
Probably. I can't think of it a point of view from the Borg for the series of Next Gen. Of course, they did it later on for Voyager.
Here we go. I love
That was
that.
creepy.
These mangled arms and everything's slotting in. Again, where did they get all this crap? How come Locutus was the only one that didn't get his eye taken out? Even Seven of Nine has a fake eye.
Maybe they thought he'd be more relatable to the humans that they were going to assimilate and not care anyway, but they needed a spokesperson to talk to him before they assimilated him.
Well,
This was one of the trailer shots that I liked.
Yeah, that's a fantastic shot. All those,
Like,
and it's
you have the Borg-
such a simple effect.
It is laser beam and smoke. You have that action figure, right, from this movie?
Yeah, it's right behind me.
Yep. Okay, I see it.
Yeah.
Blow up the damn ship.
We're not there yet.
And it's funny, like the Borg turned the air conditioning off, but they didn't figure out how to turn it back on. But I guess it makes everybody glistening in the movie. Which makes
Yeah, they're a little bit busy too. So it's okay.
Yeah, that's true. They're trying to survive and restore the whole timeline.
Now, I have seen criticisms of what is this room? Why is there a console in there? There doesn't seem to be any access but that little teeny door from the Jeffries tube. Yet it's got like this force field window panoramic. Like, what is the purpose of this room besides a nice place for some exposition?
That is a good question. I wonder if it's some kind of like, not Jeffries tube, but crawl space. There's
It's
no
actually
door.
one of
At
the
least we don't
first
see the door.
one of the first YouTube shows I ever watched. It was a guy doing
Yeah?
reviews, and he was funny as hell.
Wow.
But he was the one that pointed it out. I wish I could remember his name.
Is that Australia?
Papua New Guinea, Samoa.
Papua New Guinea?
Yeah.
That looks like a door somewhere behind him. It seems like it's a transporter room almost, or like a cargo bay, but it's so tiny at the same time.
Yeah, I don't know. Here we go. It's my first ray gun that's coming up. One of the best things.
I have, I think, 2 Lily action figures, the smaller one and then the Barbie size one.
Listen, Linda says laser beams and smoke. It's just like the 80s again. What was it called? I think it was Photon was the first laser tag place that was here in Suffolk County anyway. And
I was in the laser tag when I was a kid, but I was a lonely kid, so I'd have
I was
to
really
shoot the
bad
laser
at
in
it.
the mirror.
But I'm bad at everything, so it's okay.
I think Lily is really acting like any of us would if we were in that situation.
Not any of us. Anybody who doesn't know Star Trek. I think we would be going squeak.
That's probably right, yeah. Serenity and I recently watched the Star Trek Borg ride experience in Vegas. It's on YouTube. I was telling her how I enjoyed it and how I was running through the hallways away from the Borg and stuff. And the guy I went with was just walking because he didn't care.
Jeez.
I was like, it's the Borg. Run. Run away. Run away. Oh, here's the scene. Now, what were you thinking in the theater when you saw the scene of the Borg queen being put together?
I thought it was pretty cool. Again, you got to remember at the time I saw this, I had watched very little Next Gen. I went to see this because I like Generations so much.
Yeah.
And at that time, again, this was 96 this came out.
Mm-hmm.
I had just, I'd been my first job. I had just gotten married a couple of years before that. So
Congratulations.
we weren't watching a lot of Star Trek at that point. I didn't start watching Star Trek again until somewhere in the middle of DS9. So to me, this was always what the Borg was. Like this was my first experience of the Borg.
Oh, wow.
Quite frankly, aside from maybe what was it, Hide and Q or whatever it was. I mean, I remember that, but that's I stopped watching Next Gen in first run shortly after that because I went to college, and then I was never looking for reruns. So I had almost no preconceptions about how the Borg should be.
Fred rerun Barry. It didn't bother me. It was different, but it felt like a natural evolution.
Yeah. So let's put it. There were people with a lot more skin in the game, no pun intended, than I when it came to this stuff.
Well, that's the great thing about this movie is you can really enjoy it and not know anything about Star Trek because it's like an action film with some sci-fi in it. And there's a sexy Borg corpse chick.
Yep.
And she's hitting on a robot. Apparently those contacts really hurt her eyes. The writer's commentary.
Can we read what the writers were saying there?
The writers were saying, yeah. So it's a super kinky scene that included the Borg Queen blowing on Data.
Oh, now I get why they said that.
That's why they said that. So interesting. Pop in that Blu-ray and read the commentary.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. So what do you think about that?
Oh, I loved it. When I first saw that, I thought that was a fantastic, and just the effect.
Linda says, and we're live. You dropped a BJ bomb?
BJ bomb. But the fact, like the how it puckers and like the goosebumps go up.
It was a great practical effect. Great.
Orgasmic over there. Yeah. They still have Data's dumb LEDs that do nothing.
Wow. There's 3 different stories going on, right?
Yeah.
Maybe more.
No, yeah, because then there's going to be Worf with the
Yeah.
Oh no, well Picard is part of that though.
Yeah.
So they do go back in. They do merge back in. This is now. I've watched this movie a gazillion times,
Mm-hmm.
and this is where Laura always picks her head up.
Mm-hmm.
Is the holodeck sequence because she thinks it's so freaking cool that they can just go into this room and make any world. Now I'm sure that she's
I
seen
agree.
it before. One of my, quite frankly, I guess we're a little bit before the holodeck sequence just now, but one of my greatest pet peeves about the First Contact soundtrack is they don't have any of the Moonlight Becomes You that the Torch singer was singing in the holodeck scene. They got
That would've
freaking
been
Ooby
good.
Dooby, but they don't have Moonlight Becomes You.
They do have a singer singing in there, right?
Yeah, uh-huh.
So that scene was filmed in a restaurant in Union Station. It's like an Art Deco restaurant. So you can actually go there and pretend to be
Cool.
Dixon Hill and just bring
Where's
it.
Union
Probably
Station?
don't
And
bring it
is
again.
that in LA somewhere?
Don't know. Just read it on
Oh, gotcha.
Memory Alpha. I figured you might know because you're a man of the world.
So we'll say it's you figure they're going to be filming in LA. So
Yeah.
I've probably been to Union Station. I don't know.
Alejandro says, why didn't the secret time travel organization intervene? Was it supposed to happen this way? I think they would eventually, just not the first time around, and we're seeing the first time around. But once they hear about it, they might interfere.
No,
What did she say? Are they German?
Swedish.
Swedish, because of Borg, yeah.
But again, this is where my father-in-law was like, "Come on."
I could see them acting as like hive mind computer and like they weren't a threat, so ignore them.
Hmm.
So Picard is luring them into the holodeck right here, right?
Now, is this the first time we see someone going to the holodeck and then their clothes magically change? Don't you usually have to cosplay when you're in the holodeck?
Yes. But later on, they changed it. Now you don't have to do that. You can have holographic anything.
Yeah.
Union Station to L.A., Linda
There it
says.
goes.
So she's a
There's-
person of the world also.
Mm-hmm.
Neelix.
There's Neelix.
So they're disrupting his force fields, apparently.
It's nice to see those eye, what would you call them? Appendages get some kind of practical use.
Mm-hmm. Lily looks good in this, just going to say.
Without the safety protocols, even a holographic bullet can kill.
Mm-hmm. She looks very elegant here, Alfred.
I want you to know it's not just because there's moonlight.
That shot made my Star Trek Picard music video. That's got over 100,000 views now.
Awesome.
See, this is good for casual fans and people that don't know, and then it's just a really good little nod to that whole big goodbye. Dixon
Yeah,
Hill
was
thing.
Cyrus Redborn.
Oh, that'd be funny if Cyrus was back. But they got what? Nicky the Nose, was it?
Yeah, it's Nicky the Nose lighting a cigarette off his nose.
Mm-hmm.
Striking a match, I should say, to light his cigarette. Watch your caboose, Dix.
Now, could you use the holodeck to hide from invaders?
Is that Don Stark? Is that the neighbor from that 70s show? It is.
Oh, yeah.
It's Bob.
Yep.
It's Hot Donna's
catch.
father.
Good catch.
Yeah.
Oh, we were supposed to be looking for Brandon Braga somewhere in there.
Yeah, I'm going to take that personal in a minute. I love how Lily just adapts.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't go with the Royale.
I think everybody's glad that
he
they
looks
didn't
cool
go
with
with
a
the
Tommy
Royale.
gun.
Yeah, and just the rage. The rage is starting to build here.
Yeah, and these Borg are totally assimilated from Starfleet crew in this short amount of time.
Here we go. Here's Ensign Lynch.
Yep.
Poor Ensign Lynch.
Like you did to Ensign Lynch. He's just digging in his guts. Submachine gun.
Alex thinks that the temporal police went back many times, but this was the only timeline where the Earth was saved. They had to let the Enterprise go back. So was it Agent? What was his name from Enterprise, and then from Disco? God, why am I blank? I just saw the Enterprise one where he reveals himself to Archer too.
I know who you're talking about. I can see his face.
Jones. Anyway, so
Daniels.
Someone tell us.
Thank you, Damon.
Daniels. Yes, it was Daniels. Thank you, Damon. So maybe Daniels is somewhere there in the background.
Yeah, it's possible.
Hey, Reg. Here we go. It's nice to see Reg.
Barclay. So what do you think about Zephyr Cochrane not being the hero that everybody in history seemed to remember him as?
I think it's sort of a
It's
tropish,
kind of like that "Don't meet your heroes" thing.
Yeah. I think it's I don't know that it's cheap, but it seems like an easy way to go to give you that juxtaposition, and also to give you doubt. Well, will they even pull this off if he's the one? Like, if they weren't there, how did he pull it off in the first place? I guess the Borg didn't attack in the first place.
Right. That's the difference. Barclay. Yeah. I always pop for Dwight Schultz.
But the thing is, also, I guess in retrospect, you can think of this. When you see Cochrane on Enterprise in that cameo, that video where he basically gives the saga cell for Star Trek Kirk's speech.
Yeah. Is that in the final episode?
No, it's in the first episode, okay. And he is that hero. He is that aspirational figure.
So he's grown up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he's been instrumental in the Warp 5 program, and
Damon says they always say never meet your heroes, but I did meet my heroes. I met Christopher D. Phillips, and I met Damon.
I'm not going to seek out Linda Park.
Did I ever tell you that I hung out with Damon at Disney World? Oh yeah, we called you, didn't we?
You called me.
We were in line at Ratatouille Ride. Me and Rennie hung out with his son and his partner, and we were all in line at Ratatouille. And we gave Christopher a call. That was fun. Yeah, he lives in the area too, so we were able to meet and hang out. Great guy.
It's probably more fun for you because you were going on a ride. But it was fun for me too, in the limited way I could have fun by living vicariously through you guys.
I guess I shouldn't have hung up before we got on the ride.
Isn't it? It could be proprietary. They could have kicked you out of the park.
They could have.
Keeping secrets, trade secrets.
Mm-hmm. Take a leak. I gotta go take a leak.
Do you really think that euphemism would be lost?
A lot of things you would think is going to be standard, maybe not. Of course, after World War III, who was left and then what passed on. Leak. Mm-hmm. Beautiful, beautiful forest. This is supposed to be some national park, I think.
In Bozeman, Montana.
Yeah.
There we go.
So many trapdoors in Star Trek.
So, in this version of the Enterprise, anyway, the Enterprise E is all trapdoors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you are. Yeah, Beverly is kind of lacking in this movie. I never thought about it.
Yeah, and it's not her fault. I mean,
but damn, she looked good. Yep, Alejandro says language evolves over time and some slangs get lost. Yeah.
23 skidoo.
Yep, I'll catch you later. I'm eating a potato.
Yeah, now listen, Linda asks a good question. You think skibbity toilet will transcend time? I don't even know what that means.
That's funny. It's what kids, I think that's cringe. It means cringe and kids talk, and it originated with a viral video of a CG toilet with a face in it. and they were like moving around in a animated short.
Mm.
I went down.
What are you
that rabbit hole.
suggesting? Uh-oh. Now, this to me is one of the best sequences in Star Trek history. I absolutely love the deflector dish sequence.
It's a great sequence. I like Worf standing up to Picard.
This is Riker's. I feel like this is Riker's Indiana Jones moment. He just takes out his phaser and shoots him.
It's got to be
bullshit.
a direct homage to that,
Right?
I think we see these spacesuits again somewhere.
Did they just paint them gold and put them on Enterprise?
Something like that. I have all these action figures as well.
The helmets are different. The helmets are different in these.
Somewhere. Yeah. I just know I heard something somewhere of someone showering with their clothes on. The spacesuits were very difficult to breathe in, and Patrick Stewart had some problems before they fixed the ventilation. They had to build a whole set for this, and you could see it. It's really cool. I like this coming out on, and the camera has to flip around.
Right. Coming out upside down.
To the thing.
Right. There's no up. Everything's relative. So.
Yep. One of these guys is going to be taken out. I don't know if it's Worf, Picard, or what's his name? Hawk. Tua.
Neil McDonough is one of those actors. Like, I knew his face, but I don't know. What did I see him in? Was he in The Outsiders? What the hell was he in? Who the hell knows? And now every time I see him, I it's all, I remember him from Quantum Leap. He was in Play Ball.
Oh, really?
He was like baby Neil McDonough.
Okay. So you think if the Borg had their way, Data would have been all flesh on the outside and robot on the inside?
Maybe. I just love the way that they're Frankensteining him here.
Yeah, and it did have a definite Frankenstein.
Did we get to my favorite Data line of all time? When she says, "You always talk this much?" Yeah. Not always, but often. That's like Brent delivers that perfectly. Mm-hmm.
I think the only place where the effects break down for the makeup for this whole thing is towards the end, where Data, to have the thing going on in the like circuit boards on his face, that they have to build out his face so much.
Yeah, and that's always been an issue, I guess, right?
But other than that, like nowadays, they would have just like fixed it with CG, but it's all practical back then.
See, now I like how Data's like laying down the heat here, but his emotion chip's not on, right? So he's just
it seems
acting,
to be turned back on, I'm guessing, because he's
just
definitely
acting with the anger.
Yeah, he's got an attitude, unless he's just faking it to.
That's what I think. Like
to intimidate her.
Like we've seen him fake anger when the ensign number 3 was just like, and he's just like, do it. You remember that one where he was in command?
Yep. Yeah.
So I don't know what episode that was, but
yeah, they were doing like war games, and he was the captain of one of the ships. Is that the one where Wesley went back to get the?
It's the one where Wesley went back in time. And he found Cher. It's another new sensation for Data, I guess. Pain, right?
He's closer to human than we think, because he has the same reactions when he has flesh. Alejandro says he's got more of a lore attitude. Yeah, a little bit there.
He's got a new attitude.
Yeah, I have the Borg Queen action figure, and her, like, the top of her torso comes off the rest of her. It's pretty cool. Clicks on.
So I have to ask, because I feel like when she's floating down on the thing and before she gets locked into the top of the robot body, I mean, do we see like half a nipple? Does she have like half a boob?
I want to say I would have realized that already, but now you're going to make me watch it back on the big screen tonight. Yeah,
on the big screen in Ultra HD.
I want to say no. Her chest is cut off at the line.
I feel like if you look, there might be a ragged nipple going on there.
Okay, I'll look.
Yeah.
Nothing like a Borg nipple to make the night right. Listen, Linda says they're talking about multiple queens. Wasn't there a queen in Picard? Was it this queen? Yeah. What were they different queens, or did they just pop out a queen?
I don't know.
whenever they
No,
needed
this
a
was what Picard says. You were destroyed back there, and she said your thinking is so three-dimensional or something like
something? Or
that. So it was just a way to say, yeah, who cares? We can always have a Borg queen.
yeah. Was there 3 actresses who played a Borg queen? I think there was one specifically for Voyager, but then she couldn't do it anymore. So this queen came back for a little bit.
Right,
of
Alice
Voyager.
Creed came back for what, the finale of Voyager,
Yeah,
right?
for
And then they got the new one that played it in Picard season 2.
yeah, I really
And
liked
didn't
her.
she? That poor woman passed away, right?
Yeah, cancer.
Yeah.
We talked to a director of that episode that she was in for season 2 for Quantum Leap.
That's the second one, like a
commentaries.
guest star. There was also
Annie Wershing. Yep, that's right, Damon.
on Enterprise. There was another. She was a junior grade. I think
Oh,
she was like a
really?
crewman.
Nice.
She was a crewman, and not her, but I'm going on the death thing here.
Oh,
She was fantastic. They wanted to give her more to do, and she died of cancer.
wow.
Yeah, she got sick and she died. But she was fantastic. She was really good. I just watched one of my favorites, Dear Doctor, and she plays a pretty big role in that. I'm trying to remember the character's name. I don't remember the actress's name.
I know Annie. I followed her on Instagram. I still do. Her family keeps putting up old videos of her and stuff. But when I talked to the director of those episodes that she was in for Picard season 2, he was saying that she didn't tell anybody. She didn't let on. Nobody knew she had cancer and was doing as bad off as she could. She was, because then they wouldn't hire her insurer probably.
Yeah, I think the same thing happened to Chadwick Boseman, right?
Yeah. With that, that's sad too.
Black Panther. Yeah.
Just shoots him.
Yep.
This is a big set.
It's
It
huge,
reminds me
yeah.
of the V'ger set a little bit. Oh, here comes the 47. There's a bunch of 47s, but the 47s in this movie are on the panels here.
Okay. I always loved that Worf is just able to go shunk, shunk, and everybody else is like,
I guess they filmed them separately and weren't on set paying attention.
and
The
again,
freak
this
should
is
still
where
say
you realize how
more or less.
freaking annoying the Elcar sound effects are. They're just so unpleasant on the ear.
You don't like those sounds.
No. I mean, compared to the sounds of the original
So the
series.
Borg don't need to breathe, apparently.
No, they don't. Yeah, I guess their skin is spacified. They don't liquidate. They don't freeze. They don't.
Yeah, you would think they would freeze, right?
But yeah, just that.
I like it. I grew up with that, though.
What are they making? An interplexing beacon, I think, is what they're calling here.
They're trying to call the Borg of that time to Earth.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. But I'm just trying to remember what they actually called this. I think they called it an interplexing beacon.
I would say yes if I had multiple choice on that one.
I think this Kid Hawk has a really big future. In
He's going to become
Starfleet.
captain one day. That was pretty cool.
Now here's a contradiction in this scene. Picard says, "Don't shoot at them because you'll blow up the dish." Yet he shoots the dish. You know?
Yeah. Maybe just a little? Maybe he shot it just a little?
I mean, that's why we don't shoot at them, because we have to get you within arm's reach so that we can have all this action. But then he does the exact thing point blank that he told them not to do when they were at a safe distance.
Now, do you have to do
See,
this every time you get rid of the deflector dish, or is it just because Borg messed up the computer or something?
No, I would think that this is just the way you got to do it.
It's a cool scene. Yeah, Worf is badass in this movie.
So all this was practical effects. So that shot of that gun floating away and the
I
other
think it was
Borg,
on wires and such.
was those like I don't know. There's
Had to
got to
have
be
been.
some CGI in this, right?
Yeah. Well, I know they had a CGI Enterprise E for some of the shots.
Now here's another thing, and I understand. Okay, desperate times. See, yeah, shouldn't the
Yeah.
whole dish should have blown up? But desperate times, I guess, call for desperate measures. But would you bring a bladed weapon that doesn't even seem to have a holster and
No.
just snug it right up against the side of your spacesuit? The only thing that's
No.
going to keep you alive. Yeah. Boom.
But a Klingon would. And because that's exactly what could happen.
There's your PG-13 right there. That blood.
Yep, a little bit of red blood. Borg blood. Now, you would think they would have the belts from the animated series on, and they could just go zoo, 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 and have a mini force field on them.
Right? It's funny, like, when you think about it. How'd they breathe in those? Like,
That's a good point. They might have had triox compound going into
oh, here's a
the
Klingon.
system.
Klingon Borg.
They might not.
This had to be a Borg that was on that
How did they talk?
on that cube. It wasn't the Borg, because is there another Klingon member of the Enterprise here that got assimilated, or was he one of the OG
He must have been
Klingon OG Borgs that came on before they started assimilating?
Two of them beamed over, right? So, what is your First Contact Day tradition? Do you usually watch this around First Contact Day, or just randomly?
I don't have a First Contact Day tradition. I don't even remember it's First Contact Day until you tell me it's First Contact Day. We have to do it.
I think last year I was like, "Oh, we missed it."
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, "Next year." That's why I was like, "Oh, we're almost missing it again. We need to do it." This is pretty cool.
See, now this would scare. This would scare the crap out of me, because you got to think, okay, but if you miss, you're just going to be floating forever. Like, that's it. You're dead. You're going to be a Frank Poole, essentially.
And I don't see any like thrusters on it. I mean, there could be some kind of thruster, but. And the wire work in this is okay, but it always looks like wires. Like they didn't have that quite down.
Oh, I never thought it looked like wires.
Really?
I thought that really did look like somebody floating haphazardly through space.
Okay, so
don't ruin this for me. This is like
I won't ruin
my
it.
favorite scene.
It's a great scene. So I'm thinking it's the
And I
same
love the
prop.
way-
They just retape it with a different color and do it over and over again.
Boosh. Probably. And I
Now,
love the way
they look
this
like
thing
LCD
unlocks.
displays. Those are trees in space too.
Maybe you're not supposed to open them in space. Maybe that's only for like Utopia Planitia.
Are these the Borg that end up in Enterprise? Or some of these Borg? Or is
Some
that
of
a
these
different
Borg, yeah. No, that's supposed to be these Borg.
There's Hawk. Where's Animal?
Boosh.
Would that hurt? I don't know. It's definitely break the glass though.
And this is Worf's big line. I love
What
it.
does he say?
He says, assimilate this.
That's a good one. Yeah, all this stuff looks like it could really be it. Nothing looks hokey at all, I don't think. Looks very realistic.
Uh-oh. Plan B.
Does she know the Borg died, or does she know that the dish is not going to work because they're all networked?
I think, yes. I think both.
Okay.
I love how this, it gets hit in the sunlight a little bit, and then he blows it up. Bam.
So if you shoot it in the right place with the right intention, then it explodes.
Then it explodes the way Picard warned them that it might. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, they don't have a main deflector, so how is the ship not getting pelted by micrometeorites? That's what I want to know. Are they going to have to they're going to have to polarize the hull plating?
They definitely can't go to warp. What do you think of the choice of the song that they play in this?
Magic Carpet Ride's okay. I've never been crazy about that song, though.
I did enjoy it after this, because then it was a Star Trek song. Drinking Blue Hawaiian tonight.
in honor of Data's BJ.
Alejandro says, Picard looking at Worf like, really, dude? You just said a catchphrase? But I think the ultimate catchphrase for this movie is still to come, and it's said by Picard. Is it me, or is just Riker smiling the whole movie? He's just having the best time of his life.
Oh, yeah. You kidding?
He's like, I'm in the past. I'm responsible for first contact. This is awesome. Deanne is here. He might have got some. I don't know. We don't see that part. Yeah, my model of the Phoenix I lost, but it was a great model of the Phoenix. It was a Playmates, I think, thing. And the nacelles would come out automatically, and there were sound effects.
Cool.
Yeah. They did some good work. So he wants to make money. So there's still money at that time after World War III. Or at least the need for money. There might not be money, but there might be the need for money. So the post-scarcity economy is after this. Probably after we get the Borg, right?
Yeah,
That's one of the catalysts for that.
They tell him, within war, poverty, disease, all of it's wiped out within 50 years or something like that.
You think we'll ever get there?
I mean, I hope so. What's the alternative?
Exactly. Just be a man and let history decide.
South Park even stole that. Dude, what do you mean by that? I don't know. It's just something I saw in Star Trek. That was when Jesus was fighting Santa, I think.
Yeah.
Or the devil. I'm not sure which one.
Does this guy ever get assimilated or killed?
I don't think so. Ensign Blondie over here. Go back. Hold the line. Fight hand to hand if you have to.
Blow up the damn ship. That's a good line.
See, this is where Beverly should be coming in as a medical professional and as his oldest and dearest friend. And at this point, is Jack born at this point?
No, that's after Beverly leaves Starfleet.
But I mean, is this like when he's conceived?
I would say no, because there's a couple more Star Trek movies after this.
I guess so. Maybe it's in the next one when her boobs get firmer. Yeah, could be.
Yeah, this is where Worf stands up to Picard.
If you were any other man, I'd kill you where you stand. I love this. You're afraid. You're a coward. You want to run away, wimp. I've met braver Ferengi.
Get off my bridge. So I don't know if you noticed, but I'm wearing the Enterprise D shirt tonight in support of the D.
Very nice.
It's the one that came with the Ego Moss kit to put the Enterprise D together.
Oh, okay.
Limited edition.
Like Beverly's now got to take commands. Like Beverly's
always going to stick up for Picard. She even did in All Good Things when the Bendai syndrome had got to him.
Strand price $5.95.
Ooh.
This is maybe the best performance of Patrick Stewart's entire Star Trek tenure.
I'll agree.
This scene, the first time I saw this scene, I got such chills. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I will make them pay.
It's Captain Ahab, dude.
Yeah, it's just like
Didn't he play Ahab in a TV movie also?
Maybe. He played Scrooge, I know that.
Yeah. The classics.
Like you did for Red Sandwich. Here it is. I love it.
So how many times in real life, have you said, the line must be drawn here, this far, no further?
All the time.
Yeah, right? Me too. Me too. I have. I've had it said to me by people. I was like, sweet. Sometimes you just can't take anymore.
Yeah.
So what is he trying to do in this scene? Get
He's like
Ensign Lynch's chip
probably.
to work with a gun or something?
I think he's probably trying to modify the frequency so that the phaser becomes effective against. So they're,
That makes
so
sense.
they can't adapt. Oh, I love it.
Like you killed Ensign Lynch. He needs somebody to stand up to him.
Right.
And he's like, "Oh, I can quote a book." Mm-hmm. So that changes his brain.
I do love quoting books.
Yep. Listen, Linda says, yes, Patrick Stewart played Ahab. I think I remember that.
I feel like Kelsey Grammer would be a good Ahab, too.
Yeah,
this one.
Right here.
Oh, bam.
Wow. Blow up the damn ship.
How many years after the finale of Next Gen was this supposed to be set?
Well, they said they've been out on the Enterprise E for a full year now in the ready room.
So this from
at
this
least a year after the D crashed.
So you have to think that the Borg incursion has really stepped up since then, because he's talking about they assimilate entire worlds and we fall back. And I think that, that means that they're assimilating Federation worlds, because otherwise what would you fall back from?
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be interesting to see a book or something that chronicles that time period. That's like another Lost Era kind of thing, but it wouldn't be that long. I mean, Lost Era is the time between the original series and the motion picture. But I guess there are many different, like, little pockets that you can explore. And here we go. Now he's going to quote Moby Dick.
And then she goes, actually, I never read it. That got a big laugh, as I remember, too. Because it breaks the tension from this huge scene. Heavy scene. I never read it. So you read Moby Dick, right?
No, I never read it. I have two versions of it. I got one that I bought at Strand. Mm-hmm. When Strand was a thing, because it was on the they always had classics on the discount racks.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I bought this one, because this is an edition of Moby Dick that my aunt, I got it from my it's not even my aunt, it was my dad's aunt, Aunt Connie, God rest her soul. And she had this in college, she told me. So she went to NYU for journalism, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I didn't know that until much, much later in my life. But so I got this from her somehow. But this one is, it says edited with an introduction and annotation. So I don't know if these are complete and unabridged.
Yeah, it's edited like mean abridged, but it's still thick.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm wondering, I don't know.
It's thick as a stick, so I don't know. Is that on your bucket list? Eventually, you'll read the full. Moby Dick?
100%. 100%. I've always meant to. I just, when you buy books like I buy books, you might get around to them in 10 years. Mm-hmm. Like I've had those books for at least a good 30 years.
Most I've done is I turn the full text into an audiobook and listen to the first few hours of Moby Dick.
Call me Ishmael.
Audiobook is like 20 hours. It's long.
I think that I had one of those illustrated classics books of Moby Dick. I had one of Huck Finn. I had one of Moby Dick. We used to keep them in the back of the station wagon. I was the only one that could read in the car. Everybody else got sick. Mm-hmm. But so I probably read it and reread it going up to Greenwood Lake, a dozen times.
Like the very, very condensed with pictures.
Yeah, exactly. Very,
Yeah,
very
I read
condensed with
that one.
pictures. They were about like little
Hmm.
squat things.
Hmm.
And I read Huck Finn over and over and over again. I love Huck Finn.
I like that they make
This is
up
where they, yeah, the bromance.
and they finally
It's not
kiss.
quite the Riker bromance. This one has a lot more sexual tension than the one with Lily.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I never disliked Picard for going crazy for that little bit. I just understood his pain, and
Yeah,
I felt good about the rest of the crew being his family and supporting him and calling him on his stuff when they needed to.
I think that this is such a sweeping cinematic kind of story. I think it's
Hmm.
perfect. And when I guess, when they try to address some of the criticisms of this film being an action film, being a violent film, being a dark film, so opposed to the sensibility of next gen, that they went back in Insurrection to, was it, yeah, with the mock, with the plastic surgery villains, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was just like an episode of Next Gen, and it was just so lackluster in comparison, in
F.
my
Murray
opinion.
Abraham. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
after this. That was like it was like a good episode of Next Gen, but
it
like
was
a
like it was.
filler episode of Next Gen.
I feel like it's an episode of Next Gen that we saw already.
Yeah. Uh, this is a hard movie to follow, no matter what you do. I think.
That's true. That's true. How was Deanna like at Mission Control? I guess you can count.
Riker's just smiling. He's like, I love this. I wonder if this whole thing is just Riker's holodeck thing. He's gonna just cook some soup at the
Yeah,
end.
after this one, he's gonna go see Trip Day.
Yeah, maybe he
Now,
just
like
goes.
that to me looks a little clunky. I don't know.
It's good that the classics, the music sticks around, and this made the soundtrack. This and Ooby Dooby.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see. Damon says, "I always thought Insurrection got a bad rap. It was decent, maybe not great, but a good story. It was a good story. It was for the Trekkies that watch Next Generation, I think, and it wasn't made for the wide audience that First Contact was. I remember watching it and enjoying it, but like you said, the episode we had already seen before, like Who Watches the Watchers a little bit.
I feel like they used this shot in the opening credits of Enterprise.
That's a beautiful ship, the Phoenix." Guy builds warp capable spaceship in his backyard.
Yeah, where did she get the titanium that she had to scrape together for the hull?
Especially after World War III.
Right? It's just crazy talk.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go mute for a second.
All right. Um, I think the relationship between Lily and Picard here, where it was like romantic and a connection, I think first time watchers and thinking that, well, maybe the Enterprise crew are going to have to settle on Earth and not get back in time. They're not going to make it. That maybe there is a future between these two.
Quite frankly, I think that there was no romantic tension between them in any way. Like
Hmm.
they, to me, always seemed like just on an adventure.
Listen, Linda says, and then it becomes a ride at an amusement park. Yes, it does. Okay, yeah. Alejandro says it's more of a mutual understanding and friendship. I don't know. Maybe I'm just seeing romance everywhere because I'm the romantic guy.
Yeah, yeah. It's just, not everything has to have like a subtext, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Alejandro doesn't feel like that's there either. But the Borg Queen is definitely hitting on Data, right? Am I wrong about that?
100%. Yeah.
Okay. So now we come to the big action sequence, and luckily it's not an explosion, pew pew. It's more of a Die Hard kind of thing. Oh, and
Forget how long this movie is. We've been here since last
hour
Thursday.
51. Hour 51. So it should be ending soon. We had some technical difficulties at the beginning. Somebody turned the air conditioning on.
Oh,
So they had to walk around for months with some spritz on them.
That glistening dome is just so hot.
Yeah. So you didn't find the Borg Queen sexy?
No.
Really? We got different taste in women.
Albie, you find everything sexy.
I do.
So
I told you I get turned on when I fill my gas tank, right?
So again, and we're live.
I don't know. She's beautiful. She just happens to be dead and a robot. You know, nobody's perfect.
I mean, that's nothing against Alice Krieg, by the way, or
No.
Kriega, however you say her name.
Yeah. Gorgeous woman. Although I like her better as the Borg Queen, so I don't know what that says about me.
I like Data better with half a human face.
They made that action figure as well. This got a lot of figures. Well, it did really good at the box office. I think this has made the most. I think this or Star Trek 4 or something in there. Depends on if you go by dollars or adjusted dollars. I think.
No, if you go by adjusted dollars, it's the motion picture.
Is it?
By a far and away.
Herbert Wright? Was that the guy? No, that's not right.
You wouldn't know difference.
Ooh, cool. Damon's going to call in after the movie. Sweet. Thank you, Damon.
All right, Damon. Yeah, we have an announcement.
Yeah. You know, this movie is talky, but not too talky. It's the right amount of talky, right amount of action, right amount of sci-fi.
I think there's a great economy of dialogue in this movie. I don't think there's much wasted stuff, and even the stuff that's quote filler is mainly for comedy, and all the comedy pretty much works. So,
yeah, but Brandon Braga, Ronald D. Moore, is this one of their last, if not last, team up for Star Trek? Pretty close.
Got me. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, because pretty soon after this, I think Ronald D. Moore went out to do his own stuff like Battlestar and such.
I love how Picard is saying, take me, let Data go."
Mm-hmm.
It's like he's sacrificing himself.
And I don't think it's as much of a sacrifice because I think he lives tortured every day because of what happened to him from the Borg.
Do you think part of him wants to go back to her?
Yeah. I think there was a comfort there. Kind of like when Buffy got pulled out of heaven.
Spoiler.
Yeah, an eternity. I always knew Data was gonna not.
I remember watching this the first time. It was a little bit of a surprise to me. I really liked the sequence. I like the way Data pulls it off. I like the fact that he's got some floofy hair.
Yeah, floofy hair, right?
You know,
so that means he combs his hair.
That's like real hair instead of robot hair.
Yeah, for a long time he wore a hairpiece though, because he started going bald early, even in Next Gen. Just on the front to give his hairline a little bit lower. Yes, Alejandro, I agree. R.I.P. Michelle Trachtenberg. Yeah, it's a sad thing. Some stories are too short.
I wonder. I mean, this was the first warp flight.
So who were the people that were supposed to be on the ship?
I don't know.
I guess they were killed.
Again, maybe they were always supposed to be. Sweet
yeah, it
Jesus.
depends on what. That's a beautiful shot.
Sweet Jeebus. I love when the line when she says, "Watch your futures end." I know we're jumping the gun here.
Wow. It's almost like when Doc drew the flux capacitor, and then he sees it in real life.
I guess, yeah. I mean, there
You
are
know,
just like so many multiple beautiful hero shots of the E in this
yeah.
movie.
The direction and the cinematography, outstanding.
And at the end of the day, Data's the one that saves the day, right?
Yeah, he's the most valuable crew member, I'm sure.
Does that take away from Picard in any way?
I don't think so. I think they're a good team, and that's part of his crew. And if Picard wasn't there to remind Data of everything, I don't know if Data would have resisted.
Here we go. I love it. Pew, pew, pew.
And the Borg Queen not smart enough to figure out the angles and what's going to happen ahead of time.
Ah, Data did it just right.
Just right. Data. Since
Boom.
Did he said futile or futile? He said futile. And Picard's like, "Whoops, I better get up."
Yep. That's going to liquidate my skin.
Yep. Now, you think Data did that knowing that Picard could save himself, or he was just like, "Well, this is better than self-destruct, but it's going to accomplish the same thing."
It's like
And then
these
Picard
tubes that
climbs
just
up
come
the
down.
vacuum.
He becomes like Tarzan here. There's just an endless array of tubes and things that he can use to, yeah.
He looks pretty swole, pretty muscular in this. And when
Oh
I met him
yeah,
in real
you can
life,
tell that he was completely jacked for this one. He got Hugh Jackman's trainer for this.
I met him maybe 15, 12 years later, and he still had so much muscle. He's like an old guy, you know, but then you see him in person and he's got like biceps, triceps, and he's ripped.
See, this
crazy.
doesn't take me out of it. I think this looks pretty good. The Data effect here.
I think I noticed it more when he's sitting on the bridge at the end.
There we go.
So obviously that's CG, but it's really done well. And then when they lose the queen, then the Borg can't function. But they functioned before they had a queen, right? Or did they always have a queen?
Well, we just never knew there was a queen. That's all.
That's right. Damon says great shot, absolutely. And he could be referring to any of these, and he'd be right.
And the ventilation system in main engineering is aces because they clear out that that poison gas like that in a snap. Oh, look, he's having his revelation, old Zeke. Yeah.
So now you just got Robot, and apparently they can't function without the organic flesh.
Without their organic components. And of course, we just have this little coda at the end where Picard gives into his more human nature, I guess. Remember what Kirk said? We're not going to kill today.
Today.
It's like we're all killaholics, and we just got to take it a day at a time.
Yep.
So
for me,
I guess Picard is off the humanity wagon here.
When he breaks her spine, for me, that's like signifying the end of his trauma almost, or like him conquering his trauma. And he's
yeah,
like,
of course.
From this day forward, I think I'm going to be okay. So I got a little verklempt in this scene after I went, yes.
I think to me this is just a big FU.
Yeah. Very Terminator.
Remember we said, and I will make them pay.
Mm-hmm.
Here he is making them pay. Boof. So much trash.
Yeah. So we know the carpet's not organic. And this is a funny line.
What are those colored lights on his? What do they mean? What do they signify? I'm just so confused.
What, the lights?
Yeah.
Again, so he could see in a cave, rip your face off. An eternity. Yeah, what? So many seconds. quite possibly a perfect movie. I don't want to spoil my final rating, but man, it's so good. It's so good. 0 point something 8 seconds. For an Android, that's an eternity. Yeah, it doesn't look bad there.
I think when he's on the bridge,
Yeah.
it looks a little bit more clunky. It looked best when he came up out of the fog.
Yeah.
The music, the fanfare swelling up.
For me, I think this is the best Star Trek ever made.
Okay, well, I think you just gave away your rating. And
I mean, Star Trek 2 is right up there, but it's a different genre.
Once again, all this reused in A Mirror Darkly.
Enterprise? Yep.
Yeah.
A Mirror Darkly.
Yep.
Did you pop for that scene when it was in A Mirror Darkly?
I thought it was cool. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. So this is where the Terran Empire universe splits off, right? Pretty much.
No, I mean,
Is that what they were saying, or it just said in the Terran universe that's what happened?
Yeah, in the Terran universe, that's what happened. And there was no divergence point. There were always separate universes.
Oh, okay.
I know
did not
that. I know that Enterprise, when they were trying to get Shatner on it, they had a whole thing where there was some kind of divergence point, but I never saw it that way. They're just separate realities. It's not like Star Trek 09, you know?
Those were fun, but nothing's First Contact.
Yeah, the writers are saying that this is, in many ways, this scene is the genesis for Enterprise. Maybe that's Brannon talking about that, because he was instrumental in
Maybe
creating Enterprise.
Listen, Linda says, in one universe, this is all purple. Frakes is tall. Yep. Frakes is tall and handsome and charismatic. I'd follow him anywhere.
Just a filthy coat. You can just smell it. Ugh. It looks like a homeless person.
Yep. And the music.
Yeah.
What'd you say? One of the greatest soundtracks or scores?
Mm-hmm.
I agree. This just gave me a happy feeling. I left the theater so happy.
Looks like they have that little bump when he reveals the ears, even though we could tell they were Vulcans from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny that he tries and he can't really. Oh, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay, he didn't do it. Whew, that was close. He didn't shoot the Vulcan.
Right. You can tell also when there were insert shots.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
Okay, now they're gonna. What? I really wish they gave you a better indication of like how the Vulcans can't tell that they're beaming up. They can't tell that the Enterprise. I guess what they're hiding behind the moon and the magnetic field of the moon.
Yeah.
Is...
Little hand wavy.
But these are like pre-Enterprise Vulcans, and they're on the E, so maybe they can successfully hide from
More
their
advanced
sensors.
technology.
Yeah.
Like they probably have in their records how their sensors work, so they have an easier way to avoid their sensors. There's a kiss right there. Come on. There was something. I wasn't making it up whole cloth. Love this shot. Like, I want that poster.
I mean, the
I
crescendo.
think she's definitely Picard's type.
There we go. Everybody's all one big happy
Strong
family
woman,
again.
intelligent woman.
All the Borg shit's off the ship.
Yep.
Worf is back at tactical.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is where it's where it
maybe
just looks
the
like a
lighting
giant
betrays
helmet.
the.
Yeah, exactly. I think
flying.
it's just it's a little bit too. You know, he was going to say engage there, and then he decided to say make it so at the last second. Phew, I love that.
Yeah, it still brings me joy. I'd say I watch it twice a year, probably. Definitely around First Contact Day. Maybe not on First Contact Day, but before or after.
You and I are so different in that regard. You have a much more regimented way in which you watch stuff for some reason.
Yeah,
To the point where you have stress on certain holidays because you just don't have enough hours to watch everything you're saying you're going to watch.
I think me, it's more of like an excuse to have a party. That's kind of like me.
You don't need an excuse to have a party. I mean, parties, you can party every day. You're an adult.
Maybe I'll learn that eventually.
I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying you could.
Yeah, but if you're going to watch First Contact and there's a First Contact Day, you know, it's like any other holiday.
Goes into the next gen,
Beautiful.
or really the motion picture theme.
Yeah, definitely motion picture, right? Wow. So if you're just joining us for the audio kind of commentary part about this whole thing, then we're going to wrap that up pretty soon. But the special watch along video will continue after this because we have our reviews, a little bit of Trek and Tells, and a call in.
Yep, we're gonna have a call in as well. So maybe we do the call in first to give poor Damon a break.
Yeah. Damon's got a real job and a family and all that stuff like you.
So, do we need to watch the credits?
I can mute it, but have them playing in the background.
Yeah.
Although that sounds pretty cool. Damon, go ahead and call us in if you feel like it.
Yeah.
Into it, and I'll let you in. Borg and Stunt Borg are different, which is crazy. Yeah, one of the whoever played Ensign Lynch was a stunt person.
Unions, man.
Yep. Still Michael Westmore, so it shows if Michael Westmore is given enough time and enough money, he can do amazing things.
Sherry Goldsmith outdid himself.
Alejandro is saying, wouldn't they have their logs on the OG Enterprise, went back and how they got back? Yeah. But it's one of those things, I think, movie time travel logic where maybe they don't yet, or maybe it's slowly fading in.
Yeah.
Like Marty McFly's brother's head. We might have lost Damon. Damon might have fell asleep. He was close anyway. Thanks for sticking with us this long, though. So, let's talk about it. Okay, what's left, my friend? Thoughts, ratings, and stuff.
So I was actually reading the credits.
It is good.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, if we're gonna go towards, like final thoughts, stuff like that, quite obviously, this is the superior Star Trek film for next gen, the probably co-equal film for the entire Star Trek film franchise. I think that you don't get much better than this. This film has everything, and the fact that we've seen it a million times and it still doesn't wear thin says so much about just the quality of it. I think Damon is joining us. Here we go.
Yay. Hey, Damon.
Hey, everybody.
From
How are you, sir?
Fandom Entanglement. How are you doing, Damon?
Very tired, but but I figured I'd stop in and say hello.
To our planet, welcome.
Yeah.
How do you
Yes, welcome,
Yeah.
Damon. So, where does First Contact sit in your estimation on the scale of Star Trek?
Yeah, I was going to type it in before. It's Wrath of Khan will always be the best Star Trek movie, but this is definitely, I think, right up there. Definitely the best next gen movie. Yeah, I mean it's really great for like pretty much all the reasons that you guys were saying too. It's got a lot of
So
stuff.
where this is a nice crossover. You're on our show, but very soon, if not already, by the time this comes out, we're going to be special guest starring on a certain other show.
Yeah.
Yay. Tell us about it.
So, yeah. So,
Tell us about that 4-hour episode.
well, not 4 hours, but
Okay.
Yeah. I hopefully by the time this is, we'll probably have it on the same day too. Mike Loxham and I we are covering Sliders. And coincidentally, that episode that we did was also the same year this came out, 1996.
Wow.
Yeah,
96.
So,
Nice.
and you guys are on the episode Invasion with the Cro-Mags, which is actually their first contact with the Cro-Mags in that episode. So that's a nice little
There we go.
tie-in.
See how it all dovetails, right?
Yeah.
They're a little Borg like, and at least in this episode that we covered.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's coming up too. I know we recorded that like what, a month ago, I think, but
Doesn't feel like that
Sounds
long ago.
about a month ago.
That sounds about right.
But I was
So that should be out while this is out, which is Saturday.
Yes, it should be. Hopefully,
Nice.
yep.
We'll put the link in the description.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm right
That's
there
awesome.
with you. I think this and Star Trek 2 are the two examples.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
wonder if there's anybody, maybe you can comment down below as we're watching this on First Contact Day, that don't like this film or feel it's not a true representation of the spirit of Next Gen. I have to think there's a contingent out there. And if you're one of them, let us know. I'd really like to hear from people who think that this one is like misses the mark somewhat.
I've never heard anybody speak badly of this film.
I'm sure there.
There's
I
got to
did.
be somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sure too. Has to be.
There's got to be somewhere out there that's like, not for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think I did hear one of the mission log guys talking about it in those terms, and maybe that's where I got the idea from. So I got to think if, or maybe they were just purposely playing devil's advocate. I don't know. I just, I mean, here's the thing: is like we're getting into that point where we're just gushing, quite frankly, and it's just like this love fest. And
they're deservedly so, though.
so, yeah, but I mean, there's got to be other points of view on this. So. I mean, just wait till you hear how we gush about the Cro-Mags on the Fandom Entanglement podcast. So, I mean, yeah. So if you're out there and you're one of those fans that just doesn't jive with this film, let us know. I mean, you can tell us many ways. There are many ways. Should I give the contact info?
Sure.
And then we'll do a final thoughts.
Sounds great.
All right. So if you want to tell us what you think of First Contact, the easiest way, of course, is to comment right here on the YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/@Treksploration. Go into those comments below. The more comments we get, the more the algorithm picks up on us. It just builds and snowballs. So please comment here. You can also follow us on our Patreon site. That's patreon.com/Treksploration. There are many levels of support over there if you feel like you want to support the show. Instagram us at Treksploration Pod, Blue Sky Social at Treksploration. Send us an email, treksplorationpod@gmail.com. You can also support the show by buying us a coffee. That's buymeacoffee.com/Treksploration. That's more for a one-time donation if that's what you'd like to do. And you can always send us your review of Star Trek First Contact to P.O. Box 542, Bayport, New York 11705. That's P.O. Box 542, Bayport, New York 11705. And speaking of five, what 5 silly objects do you give for, or are we going to do Trek and Tell? We got to do a Trek and Tell? Let's do a quick Trek and Tell.
Sure. What do you got, Chris?
Okay. First Contact soundtrack. I mean,
nice.
It's the only First Contact thing I have, quite frankly. And I got to be honest with you. Like I said, just falling in love with this theme. It's the first soundtrack I ever bought. So I love it that it's got the disc. And I would take the book out, but we've all seen the book. Let's take it out anyway.
Have you ever popped it in your computer?
I tried. Here's the thing. When this thing came out, I had like an ancient PC that had no memory, and it would never really load correctly. So I couldn't play the game that was supposedly, I don't know if it was a game or if it was just like a demo.
Screensaver, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So
Major Barrett. and Elcar's, I think.
Yeah, yeah. It was like an Elcar's display that I couldn't. But this has some nice shots of the film in it. Some shots of the ship designs. That Vulcan ship is so weird looking. Borg cube. It's like pre-production art, they call it. And then the schematic, the Elcar schematic of the Enterprise E.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time I looked through this. And here, action morph. That's what everybody needs. Action morph.
Worf, yeah, probably his best movie moments.
And these are
Rick Berman, Gene Roddenberry. Is that Gene Roddenberry?
No, that ain't Roddenberry.
He was already gone, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So Rick Berman and who?
I'm looking now. You guys go with yours.
All right. Well, I'm just going to show this real quick. I was getting ready, and I was like, hold on, I got to get my cologne. And Chris was like, why do you need cologne? We can't smell you. I always shower before these just because I want to feel fresh.
I think that was Jerry Goldsmith, by the way.
Oh, that's awesome.
The composer.
I wanted to show this, which is my Star Trek First Contact cologne.
That's just.
I think I've showed it before, but I got to show it with this.
Like,
and then
why did they come out with a cologne?
Well, you want to smell like a hot garbage bag, right?
I guess. Is that Ensign Lynch? That might be Ensign Lynch. I don't know.
What you did to Ensign Lynch? Now, I have the Star Trek First Contact bubble bath as well, which is like a Borg, and you unscrew his head, and then it's bubble bath.
That sounds.
This smells like bubble bath. Like this
sounds like oddly sexual.
But it's good. And I have this came with a set with a bar soap and a wallet, and those are both packed. But you can, they're still on eBay. But it smells like shampoo, like 1980 shampoo.
So you smell like soap and water. There are worse things.
Yeah. I think it was meant for kids, but of course, the old fat men are going to buy it, right? But yeah, that's mine. So cool. Star Trek First Contact cologne. So whenever I haven't used much of it, only when I go out on important dates do I put a little bit on my pulse areas.
And it makes you break out in a rash almost immediately. Damon, what do you got?
I was like, do I have anything? I was like, well, I kind of have this. This is First Contact is on here. It's like I think it's the European.
Yeah, that's a good one.
European version of it. I got it as a birthday gift a number of years back from my sister, and it does have. Yeah, I don't have anything more impressive than that, but it's got Riker on there, First Contact.
Riker.
One of those thin, they each come individually in the sleeves. And it's got what does it say? Evolutions. I haven't even like watched these, to be honest, but
you just got to buy them to have them. Yeah.
Evolutions. So I guess this is like the bonus. This is like a documentary thing or something.
Yeah, it's really good.
Okay.
I did watch the bonus features on those.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's mine.
Cool. Very cool.
Nice.
All right, so now that we're done with our Trek and Tell, we've been going for a while here. It is First Contact Day, but it's not a First Contact Day marathon. So I think it's time to give our final thoughts and ratings. Damon, why don't you go first? Movie Crush. Oh, we got to do Movie Crush.
Oh.
Damn it! I'm so sorry, Chris.
What's your Movie Crush, Damon?
I really do like Beverly in this. I think she looked really, really good in this. It's tough. It's a tough call between her and Deanna. They just because they had like the whole different look going starting in this movie and then for the next ones, and they just kind of kept that look going. I said Beverly probably my crush.
Chris.
Oh, I don't know her name. The engineer that is asking for Paul in the Jeffries suit. Just something about her has always appealed to me in this film. So, the first thing that came to mind was her.
Beverly is my always forever crush, and she is at the top of her game in this movie, just like you said, like Deanna is. A lot of me want to say the Borg Queen, but I have to go with Beverly. She's just drop dead gorgeous and confident and strong, and I wish she was in it more.
And now, as it comes to your favorite part, I think we probably all have the same favorite part.
I'll let you go first, then.
The line must be drawn here, no further.
The line must be drawn here! This far, no further.
quite frankly, wow. Oh, listen, Linda's movie crushes Data's floofy hair.
Data's floofy hair. Thank you, Linda. Yeah, he was getting emo for a minute.
There we go. There we go.
Of course, we talked about the 47s. They were on the displays here and there, especially when the Alejandro says Beverly looked great, even in Picard for her age. That's true. Badass Beverly was really hot. Still is.
So the question I have, so was I right about everybody's favorite part of the movie?
Yeah.
That scene?
You mean that whole part with?
I would say yes.
Yeah.
That dramatic scene is
yeah.
great, but of course, it's like one of those things where it's the whole thing. You know,
Yeah,
it's a cop-out answer, but the whole thing is my favorite part. It's really good.
All right.
All right, ratings out of 5. Silly objects.
Let David go first.
I don't even know. Silly object coming off the top of my head. I have no idea. I can't come up with it off the top of my head, but I would have to say this movie is just I would give it a probably 9.5. Is that what we're doing out of 10 or is it out of 5?
Yeah, it's out of 5, but you can do a 9.5 because you can go up to 10, but it's out of 5.
All right, 9.5. I don't. Maybe after you guys come up with your silly objects, I'll have one.
All right, Christopher D. Philippus.
I'm going to go with Damon. I'm on Team Damon. It's 9.5 raggedy half Borg Queen nipples out of 10.
Nice, love it. Alejandro gives it a 3 out of 5.
I'm sorry.
4 out of 5. What?
I said it's 9.5 out of 5.
All right. Yeah. I don't know what you guys are taking that 0.5 off for. I'm going to give it a perfect 10. First times with a ray gun out of 5, or 10 broken little ships out of 5. Those are
Gotcha.
the 2 I had ready. Yeah. Perfect film for me. Loved it. No complaints. Nothing bumps me, really. And I could watch it infinitely on a loop. So I think that about wraps it up. Coming up next, what do we got coming up next, Chris?
Finally, we're going to get to where no man has gone before for our continuing TOS retrospective. And then the next TNG recap is going to be Arsenal of Freedom, or as I like to call it, Arsenal of Bijans.
Yes. So thank you, everybody, for joining us here for this watch-along for Star Trek First Contact on First Contact Day.
Yes.
And hope you enjoyed watching it with us, and hopefully you do it again every year and watch this with us every year.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time. And remember to look out for the special bonus episode, the and more, of Serenity, myself, and Christopher talking about Star Trek Voyager 1159.
Yeah, and thank you, Damon. Thank you, Alejandro. Thank you, Linda. And thank you, everybody else out there who contributed as we were watching together. Thank you for sticking with us for the whole thing. And once again, happy First Contact Day, one and all. Maybe we'll make this a yearly tradition.
Yes. And thank you, the omnipotent Willard.
Engage.
Until next time, I'm Albie.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Damon.
And we'll see you next time.
See you next time. The line will be joined here. No further. There won't be a next time.
Watch it all night, we're ready for a ride. Check it to come side by side. Feel the rhythm as we move to the beat. And we're World Podcast with DLB. Soundwaves flowing, we set the stage. This is Albie Blue Rhythms from every age. Captain Charles, get ready to the cosmic tide. Get our negative look. Time to ride.